Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am so pumped to guide you through this one because it is absolutely fascinating. Recently, there has been this massive wave of rumors swirling around regarding the end of paper money in India. And no, this isn't just internet gossip. These rumors actually stem from highly secretive, top-level board meetings held by the Reserve Bank of India in Patna and Mumbai. Whispers from these banking corridors suggest a colossal shift, that the government and the RBI are gearing up to completely overhaul the country's currency system. Today, we are going to unpack exactly what was discussed, what it means for your wallet, and the incredible technology driving this shift from traditional paper to polymer notes.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover why there's no need to panic. Second, the sheer cost of paper. Third, entering the world of polymer notes. Fourth, objectively weighing the pros and cons. And finally, learning from the past. Simple enough, right? Let's go. Section 1. No need to panic. We're going to address the elephant in the room and separate rumor from reality right out of the gate.
You know, when rumors of currency changes hit India, our minds instantly flash back to that night, November 8, 2016. The sudden TV announcement, the immediate invalidation of 500 and 1,000 rupee notes, those literally mile-long lines at the banks, it's burned into our brains, right? So naturally, the very first question on everyone's mind is exactly what you see here. Are the notes sitting in our wallets right now going to become useless overnight?
Well, the short, clear answer is absolutely not. Seriously, no need to panic. The RBI is not pulling any sudden shock treatments this time around. Instead, they're initiating what's called a pilot project. Unlike that 2016 overnight demonetization, which was a massive, sudden shock, this 2024 project is a highly calculated, gradual rollout. They're starting small. Literally, just the 10 and 20 rupee notes. Your existing hundreds and 500s? Perfectly safe, fully legal. The plan is actually just to let the old paper notes and the new plastic notes comfortably coexist in the market, working shoulder to shoulder. If this trial succeeds, then, they'll slowly roll out 50s, 100s, and eventually 500s over the coming years. No disruptions. Easy peasy.
Moving right along to Section 2, the cost of paper, or really, the underlying economics of cash. Why make this massive change anyway?
Look, we live in the digital India era. From mega malls to your local vegetable vendor, literally everyone is scanning UPI, Google Pay, and PhonePe. But here's the crazy part. Despite all that digital revolution, the demand for physical cash is actually hitting record highs. That staggering number right there, 42.86 lakh crore rupees. That is the total cash currently circulating in India. People still fundamentally view cold hard cash as the most secure way to hold their money. But, as you might guess, that huge demand creates a massive, expensive problem for the RBI.
Because printing paper money, it is definitely not child's play. You need specialized imported ink, specific cotton paper, those complex security threads. The cost to print these notes recently peaked at an astronomical 6,332.80 crore rupees. Now, what's really interesting here is that if you look closely, the cost dipped a bit recently to around 4,875 crore. Why? Well, the RBI deliberately printed more high-denomination notes and fewer small ones, just to save some money. But still, we're talking about nearly 5,000 crore rupees effectively being burned just to manufacture pieces of paper.
And it gets worse, 23.8 billion. That is the number of soiled notes the RBI was forced to pull from circulation and destroy in just one single year. Think about a paper note's life cycle. It hits the market, gets wet, absorbs sweat, gets crammed in pockets, and eventually tears. Once it's in that state, it's officially categorized as soiled. The vast majority of these destroyed notes were actually 500s and 100s, but those fast-circulating 10 and 20 rupee notes, they get destroyed super fast, sometimes lasting only a few months, so the RBI spends billions printing them, only to literally shred them a year or two later and start the whole shebang over again. It is an endless, incredibly expensive cycle of waste.
And that endless cycle brings us to Section 3, enter the polymer note. Specifically, what on earth is BOPP?
Okay, when people hear plastic money, they immediately picture those thick, rigid credit cards or ATM cards. But scratch that. That's not what this is at all. These new notes use something called BOPP, biaxially oriented polypropylene. Quite a mouthful, I know. It's basically an incredibly thin, highly flexible layer of plastic. To the touch, they feel remarkably similar to the light paper notes you already know. You can easily fold them right up and tuck them into your wallet. But the tech inside, pure magic.
Because it's polymer, the notes feature transparent windows you can see completely through, plus built-in, complex holograms that standard counterfeit printers just absolutely cannot copy. All right, Section 4. Weighing pros and cons. Let's take an objective, balanced look at this massive shift to BOP notes.
The perks here are actually pretty incredible. First off, durability. While paper tears in a year or two, polymer notes last 3 to 4 times longer. You practically can't tear them by hand. Second, totally waterproof. Third, they are anti-counterfeit. India has dealt with fake currency funding cross-border terror for years, right? The complex tech in these notes makes them nearly impossible to forge, which pretty much stops that in its tracks. Fourth, hygiene. Paper notes are covered in millions of germs, but polymer? Dust doesn't stick to it, and you can literally wipe it clean. And finally, when they do eventually wear out, they aren't just burned or shredded, they are fully recyclable. They get melted down to create everyday stuff like plant pots and plastic chairs. How cool is that?
Oh, and I think we can all relate to this specific benefit. You know that dreadful moment when you accidentally leave a paper note in your jeans pocket, run the laundry, and pull out a disintegrated, soggy mess? Yeah, well, a polymer note is entirely washproof. It can survive a full spin cycle in your washing machine without a single scratch, completely unfazed by water and detergent. So, the crucial point is, we gotta look at the downsides too, right? Because nothing is perfect. There are 3 main disadvantages here. First, yes, they're flexible, but if you forcefully fold a polymer note and pinch it super hard, it's gonna form a permanent white crease that never goes away. Second, brand new polymer notes are quite slippery. They can stick together or slip right through your fingers, making them kind of a pain to count quickly at first. And third, the upfront cost. Setting up the machines and designing these notes is way more expensive initially than paper. But the RBI notes that because of their long lifespan, that cost is easily recouped over time.
Which brings us to Section 5, learning from the past and taking a look at the 2012 trial. Because guess what? India has actually tried to do this once before. Let's rewind a bit to 2012. The government and the RBI approved this massive field trial. They strategically picked 5 cities: Kochi, Mysore, Jaipur, Bhubaneswar, and Shimla. Why those specific spots? Because they represented vastly different climates, from extreme heat to heavy monsoons and freezing cold. They pumped 1 billion 10-rupee plastic notes into these markets. And it was a total disaster. But here's the thing, the problem wasn't the notes, it was the infrastructure. The ATMs and banking machines back in 2012 simply lacked the advanced tech to process them. The plastic notes stuck together, the machines jammed constantly, and the entire project basically had to be completely shelved. And this brilliantly illustrates why context matters. While India had to hit pause, the rest of the world just kept moving forward. Today, over 60 countries use polymer technology. Australia actually pioneered the whole thing way back in 1988 and is now 100% polymer, boasting some of the cleanest currency out there. Major economies like the UK, Canada, and Singapore, they made the shift successfully too. And globally, countries that transitioned have seen up to a 40% reduction in their annual currency printing budgets, while simultaneously crushing the counterfeit market. So why is the RBI so confident about bringing this back to life now in 2024? Well, we are fully entrenched in the digital age now. Over the last decade, India's ATM networks have had a massive modernization. They are decked out with highly advanced software and ultra-sensitive modern sensors. These upgraded machines can effortlessly detect, count, and smoothly dispense those slick polymer notes without any of the jamming drama that doomed the 2012 trial. The infrastructure has, finally, caught up with the ambition. The era of paper notes in India is undeniably coming to an end. And it's not some sudden crisis, but a calculated modern upgrade designed to fortify the economy and kick counterfeiting to the curb. But it leaves us with a super fascinating question to chew on. Should we fully and gladly say goodbye to paper notes for the sake of economic efficiency and security? Or is there a sort of nostalgic, familiar feel to paper money that we're inevitably going to miss once it's gone? It's a massive shift, and I really encourage you to think about how this is going to change your daily life. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this explainer today, and as always, keep learning.